You guys have video, but no audio. All right, McKinley, give me a check right quick. Can you hear us? How we doing, my friend? Do we got audio? Let me know if we're operating right or not there. Hopefully we're operating right there. See, this is why we do a pre-audio check. Okay, there we go. Audio is working now. Okay, perfect.
Excellent.
All good. Awesome. Yeah, see, that's the problem with opening day baseball there, guys. Natalie Roach giving us the thumb ups as well. Welcome, Natalie Roach. Thank you for joining us there. Appreciate it. And we also have McKinley Culture in the stream. Awesome. Thank you guys for checking on us on the audio there. Yeah, it's the only problem when you start sorry guys, opening day. I've been enjoying the start of Major League Baseball season for the last couple hours. So my apologies there on the pre-show there.
Absolutely.
All right. So first of all, let's go ahead and start all over again. That means we got to do another pre-show cheers.
I'm in.
Let's do that. Okay. Okay, so we're going to need to start all over, folks. So thank you for joining us. We're going to start from the Hello Internet. Welcome. Thank you for joining us on the DNA HQ live stream of the DNA Sports Recap podcast. Thank you all very much for joining us. Before we get into the content, we need to jump in and start with our most important ritual, the pre-show cheers. Cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you. Thank you. As a reminder, tonight we are drinking. What are we drinking today?
Angel's Envy.
That's right. Special shout by a good friend, Sean Roach, for introducing me to this particular brand of whiskey. It's technically not a bourbon because it's finished in sherry cask, but it is definitely my favorite. I guess you could call it Kentucky straight bourbon, but it's not technically bourbon.
Very good.
Yeah, it's very interesting, but it's very good. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Thank you very much to Sean Roach. And I also want to extend a special thank you to Sean Roach for our continued tradition of opening day baseball. Appreciate you. Thank you very much for joining me for that. But before we talk baseball, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about college football. Let's go and jump into that, shall we?
Yep, absolutely. So the big question is, can Michigan survive without Coach Jim Harbaugh?
Can Alabama survive without Nick Saban? All that more. Let's go. All that more. We'll go and discuss that going forward. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about Michigan and Sharon Monroe. Let's go ahead and talk first about that. Can we?
Yeah, for sure. I do want to jump in because my question is what was Michigan with Jim Harbaugh, right? So with Jim Harbaugh, Michigan went 89-25 with Harbaugh as a coach. They won 3 Big Ten championships and obviously took the national championship last season.
Right.
Their recruiting ranking over the last couple of years, they were top 20 ranked in recruiting. Their transfer rankings were 17, 56. So they were up there, right? They're right. pretty well transferred. Their recruiting rankings were really good. This year, after Coach Harbaugh left, their recruiting ranking stays at number 19, but their transfer ranking moves up to 94th in the country. So you can see that they obviously lost some talent after Harbaugh left, and probably continue to bring some in. That's kind of the case, obviously, whenever you lose a head coach, except for a couple other instances, which we'll talk about in just a second. They did send a record 18 players to the NFL Scouting Combine, passing the previous LSU record of 16 in 2020, which is pretty insane to send 18 players to the NFL Scouting Combine.
Especially that year.
Yeah. I mean, that's just crazy. So 13 of those 18 players are projected to be drafted in April. Those players obviously include J.J. McCarthy, defensive lineman Chris Jenkins. They got Roman Wilson and, Blake Corum. So just a few of those guys from that Michigan team that was obviously a national champion winner. So, I mean, the Wolverines are losing a ton of talent to the NFL. I think you can kind of see by that transfer falling. There was a ton of players that just wanted to play for Harbaugh, right? He puts talent in the NFL, obviously with 18 players in the combine this year. But I do think that Harbaugh built a culture there at Michigan that, Coach Sharon Moore he'll continue to build on, right? So what do you got? What do you think about Coach Sharon?
So Coach Sharon Moore, the whole concept of this particular segment is, are they set for success?
Yeah.
And I would say absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say absolutely. Michigan is still set for success. Currently, they are tied with LSU for 6th ranked odds to win the CFP in 2024.
Yeah.
So winning breeds winning, man. He has been the offensive court. He's been on the offensive staff for the last 6 years. He was served as interim head coach over the last 4 games. Over 4 games last season, with victories over Bowling Green, 31-6 on September 6th. He also has 2 road wins against Penn State and Maryland, as well as a season finale against Ohio State to claim the Big Ten East Division crown. 2 of those wins were against top 10 teams in the country. So Moore is, first of all, Moore has the support of the staff, the university, and their fan base. So I think if there's a college coach that's set up for success, Moore is definitely the guy.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, he's got that fantastic program, right? I think they have a ton of players that are really bought in. He can continue the tradition that Harbaugh kind of spent some time building. I think that, their one kind of question mark was who are they going to play at quarterback? They do have Alex Orji. I mean, he was a 6'3" junior. He played his high school ball in Texas. He was a 4-star recruit out of high school by ESPN. Dual threat guy, can move the ball on the ground. He was involved in some of the running packages this year against Michigan State. So, and then he could potentially be backed up by former Utah commit Jack Tuttle,
right?
Who's like a graduate transfer. I'm pretty sure he's 86 and a half years old now, can barely move.
Was like a 6 year.
I think he committed to the Utes in like 2015, man. Like, I'm pretty sure this is like year 9.
Nice.
Just to kind of wrap it up, I think that Michigan is going to be a great football team this year.
Mm-hmm.
The Big Ten Conference is going to be really tough, though. I mean, they just add Washington, USC, UCLA, Oregon, all of those teams that we had, quite a bit of experience watching, obviously being Pac-12 fans. So
I put a comment out there by McKinley Culture there. How will Michigan survive without Jim and his massive sign stealing operation?
Oh, that is such a good question. Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, I definitely agree there. If it wasn't for the fact that they brought in somebody who's been with the program for the last 6 years, maybe he learned a little bit of the hometown juju from that for sure. But I love it, man. Keep it coming, man. Keep it coming. Appreciate it. Thank you very much from McKinley Culture. Appreciate it. Keep the comments coming. Once again, folks, this is a live stream. We'd love to hear from you folks. If we're whatever your thoughts are on what we're talking about as far as the topic that we're discussing. Also, let us know where you're repping, where you're from there, and we'd love to. We would interrupt what we're talking there to address your comments. So please feel free, and appreciate everybody in the comments for letting us know that our audio wasn't working there when we first got started.
That would have been terrible.
That would have made for a terrible podcast. So
I'm glad somebody was watching.
I'm glad somebody's watching. Absolutely. All right, so let's go ahead and switch over to let's talk about Alabama, shall we?
Yeah. So I kind of want to jump in and just talk about the legendary Nick Saban and how that all kind of happened, right?
Yeah, start there.
And just for the record, I am not an Alabama fan, not in any way, shape, or form. But
yeah, you got to give them thoroughly documented on this channel for sure.
Yes. But you do got to give respect where respect is due. Alabama went 201-29 with Saban as the head coach after he took over in 2007. They won 6 national championships, 9 conference championships. They have had a number 1 and number 2 recruiting ranking for the last 4 years. Their transfer ranking, 23 was actually their worst year.
Mm-hmm.
And they were ranked 53. Their transfer ranking with the new incoming class and Kalen DeBoer is actually number 11, which is higher than it's been. So they did send 10 players to the NFL scouting combine this year. We lost a light.
Killing me.
Dang it. Dude, we really need to get our shit together this show, Darren. It's okay. It's okay. I got this.
We're totally on it. But yeah, while you're working on that, you got that plugged in? You got that squared away? Let me first talk about Kalen DeBoer and his resume, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay. So in his first 9 seasons as a head coach, DeBoer has won 104 games while only losing 12. Which includes a 25-3 record with the Washington Huskies. In 2023, he led Washington to the college football playoff national championship game. He won the Pac-12 championship with a record of most wins in a season in program history. That comes directly from RollTide.com. So that is DeBoer's resume right there.
Kalen DeBoer. I mean, if there's anybody that was well, actually, no. Let me go back. There is not a more perfect candidate for a successful program as Alabama than Kalen DeBoer. The dude's a perfect fit to keep leading Alabama to success. I mean, he's been successful every single place that he goes. Like you said, he keeps winning. He keeps showing he can win. He coaches these programs to family. And I mean, I watched a lot of Washington Huskies football last year, and you could tell those guys loved playing for each other.
Shout out to Steph.
Yeah.
On you.
And I think it's going to be really interesting to watch this program. They've got a ton of talent that they lose talent every year. And I think that's what kind of sets them up for success because they have so many good players coming in. I mean, I expect Alabama to continue to be a national powerhouse, continue to dominate the college football landscape. I think it does kind of seem like Saban's shoes may be too big to fill, but I think Kalen DeBoer is the guy, if there was a guy, to step in and kind of keep leading this program, to keep pushing and keep winning. And I would expect nothing less than Alabama to be ready to win the SEC and keep on pushing to win another college football playoff. So
absolutely. With the expansion of the 12 teams, you definitely can't count them out for sure.
Yeah. I mean, they've never been ranked lower than 12. And I guess they were last year for a little bit, but I mean,
they still won the division.
They
still won the conference.
They still won the conference. Yeah.
Absolutely. So when it comes to who they have returning, so this is the funny thing with Kalen DeBoer assuming the role, they still have returning quarterback Jalen Milroe. Sorry, yep. He's a redshirt junior as starting quarterback heading into this fourth season with Alabama. No doubt that he has earned the spot as the starting quarterback. Right? He's been in some killer games we've watched. If you've watched this show,
we've watched him throw some prayers into the corner of the end zones and win the game with like less than a minute to go.
Yeah. He's made big plays in big games. There's nothing you can't argue that. So it's really impressive there. You also have Ty Simpson and sophomore Ty Simpson and freshman Dylan. I think it was Longgrain. I hope I'm saying that Longgrain. So saying that right, and also Austin Mack. Willing to challenge that starting role there. So it's definitely gonna, with the incoming head coach, it's not just gonna be a given that Jalen's gonna have the starting job, right? He's gonna have to earn it, and those Ty and Dylan are definitely gonna challenge him for that starting role. But you also got Haynes and Miller ready to take over at running back, and with a stacked offensive line with Kalen. The stacked offensive line, Kalen should be feeling right at home in Tuscaloosa, aka T-Town, down there with a high-powered offense that he's used to having with Washington there. So I think he's definitely in a great position moving forward for sure.
Yep, I totally agree. They're going to be a fun program to watch. I actually can't help but cheer for Kalen DeBoer just because he did such a good job. I mean, he turned Washington around in just a couple of seasons to really, competing for a national championship last year. So I look forward. This might be the first time in a long time that I've actually cheered for Alabama. So
nice. Yeah. Nice. I like it. Roll Tide there for sure. All right, so let's go ahead and let's pivot over to Washington. You want to talk a little about Washington?
Yeah, absolutely. So Washington, can they succeed without head coach Kalen DeBoer? Back to again, you kind of spilled it in the Alabama segment, but Washington went 25-3 with Kalen DeBoer as their head coach. He took over in 2022, really turned the program around. As a head coach, he's 104-12, which is just crazy to win 100 games and only lose 12. He was named the Pac-12 Coach of the Year in 2022. He was awarded multiple National Coach of the Year awards in 2023. This is a program that doesn't always attract the top talent via recruiting or transfers. Their recruiting rankings were 29 and 29 the last couple of years. Their transfer rank was 46. And their actual best recruiting, their best transfer year was this year, which is not with Kalen DeBoer. It would be under Coach Jed Fish.
Right.
And a lot of the talent's coming over from Arizona.
That's what I was
following Coach Jed. So this team's got so much talent to replace. They had 13 players at the NFL scouting combine. It's really tough when you're trying to replace generational talent like, Roma Dunze, Jalen Polk, Michael Penix Jr., Dylan Johnson, Troy Fautano. These guys are what were really the glue to that Washington team. We got some comments.
Yeah, go ahead and finish up.
Okay. But I mean, this team was, like I said, I watched a ton of Washington football. I mean, you could see that this was a team that loved playing together. And Coach Jed Fish, you can see he's already kind of making his mark on the program by really affecting that transfer rank at number 10. Right. I mean, it's obvious he's got some players that are looking forward to playing for him. And then also there were some really good players that transferred to Alabama following Coach DeBoer. So,
Right.
There's always, like you said, that merry-go-round. I sincerely think this is going to be a really, really good football team. I am curious to see how quickly they can adapt to a new scheme, and kind of a new culture under Jed Fish, because those are completely different head coaches, right? I mean, it's going to be very interesting. And the Big 12 or the Big 10 this year is no joke. I mean, the only kind of blessing that Washington got this year was they actually drew out pretty well in scheduling. They got Michigan coming to Seattle this year. And then they got a few tough road games at at Penn State and then at Oregon. So other than that, I mean, those are some of the tougher games on their schedule. Not that those aren't tough games, but it gives them a little bit of room to kind of breathe. You know what I mean? They're not getting pounded with Big Ten monster after Big Ten monster every single season or every single week. So no, I think it'll be a really good season for Washington. I look forward to seeing how Coach Jed Fish does.
Without how Arizona finished the year last year, are they with the talent that transferred from Arizona to Washington? Are you still that high on Arizona? For those of you who haven't noticed, we posted our top 5 rankings for way too early rankings on the Big 12 conference starting next year. Neither one of us had Arizona in the top 5, I believe.
Yeah.
Do you, with Arizona's going into Washington now? Washington is joining the Big 10.
Yep.
If we were to say the same thing, would you put Washington in the top 10 of the top 5 of the Big 10
of the Big 12? If
Sorry,
they were
Big
joining
12,
the same conference, yeah.
No, the Big 10.
Okay, so you're saying is Washington top 5 in the Big 10?
Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
I think so.
Okay, I'm putting them just outside of that.
Yeah,
because I just don't think there's.
I would say they're probably 5.
Yeah, I think they're pretty close. I think with the amount of talent they're getting from Arizona, which how Arizona finished in the Pac-12 last year or this year, last year, how they finished that out versus and then transferring into a much more competitive conference. I think I got them right on the cusp there. So
yeah,
I'm just curious on that for sure. Let's go ahead and address a comment here. We got one from Natalie Roach here. Let's go ahead and put that up on the screen. With the University of Utah going into the Final Four, the NIT, is it better to win the NIT, or make the NCAA tournament and lose in the first round? So pivoting over to college basketball, that's a very good question. Would you rather win the NIT or go into the NCAA, go to the dance and then lose in the first round?
I'd say win the NIT all day. Winning's winning.
That's very true.
Like I guess I mean it's such a great question actually, but yeah, I mean making the big tournament's great, but I'd rather watch my Utes play 5 or 6 games in the NIT than 1 game in the big dance.
Yeah, I'd have to agree on that. I mean, we did have Utah State and BYU. I do believe they went. Utah State won a game.
I think Utah State won 1, but BYU was the very first team eliminated.
Yeah, and then so they got eliminated after that. But then you still got the University of Utah playing in the NIT. So I don't know, man. I think if the Utes win the NIT tournament, then that kind of shoves a middle finger to the selection committee on whoever wins that tournament obviously deserved a shot in the dance,
especially over BYU. I mean, they were the first team eliminated.
Yeah, true. But they did earn the spot though. They had a couple of good wins there for sure. Yeah. Especially to start off the season. But yeah, absolutely great question there. I don't know. I think you and I both agree. I'd rather have the Utes win the NIT than go into the dance and get bounced in the first round. Absolutely, for 100% for sure.
Go Utes.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you, Natalie Roach, for the comment there. Absolutely. Yeah, we'd love to hear some more feedback from you folks out there. Let us know what you think there when it comes to that. I'd like to stay in college basketball for 1 minute though.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so did you hear about Caitlin Clark?
I heard that she was offered what $5 million to join the Big Three league by Ice Cube.
Yeah, Ice Cube offered $5 million in a contract for a 1-year deal to join the Big Three in his little league that he's got going on there. What do you think about that?
Well, I am not exactly sure what a WNBA contract looks like. Okay.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure it is nowhere near $5 million.
No, she's set to make $500 million over the course of her rookie contract. Over the course
500,000.
500,000 over the course of her rookie contract.
Right.
Now, keep in mind, this is Caitlin Clark. She already has an NIL set of about 3 million plus this year. So once she's gone pro, it's probably going to go up higher than that. So she's probably going to be around the 4 to 5 million when it comes to off court earnings. So what I really loved about the statement by Ice Cube is he wants to work with the WNBA and say, hey, we're going to let her continue to play in the WNBA. And it's only a 10-week commitment for the Big Three tournament.
Oh, if she can do both, I'd be all in.
She could do both, right?
Yeah.
So this is my take on that. My question to you on that, sorry, not my take, but my question to you on that is, do you think she accepts that offer?
I don't think she will accept the offer, just because I think that would be I think you'd have to have your team buy into that, right? Whoever drafts you is going to have to say, yeah, you can still play in the 3-on-3 and you can still play a WNBA schedule. I don't see anybody doing that.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother thing that we'll be talking about soon. I definitely do want to do a video on how the WNBA is going to screw this up. The WNBA is going to literally screw up the Caitlin Clark thing, and there's evidence, historical evidence that proves that, and we'll definitely go into that in a future video. But yeah, I see this as nothing but a win, but a huge dub for the WNBA. Your future Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer in your league is coming into your league that's literally going to bring in more eyeballs to your sport than you're ever going to have in the history of the game. And it can also be representing your league in a Big Three tournament with a bunch of former and current NBA players. Like, why would you not just be signing on the dotted line for that?
Yeah.
Why would you not do that?
You're literally just telling like NBA or WNBA franchises, like, if you sign her, she's playing there.
Yeah. Why would you not do this? Because to me, this speaks highly. It does nothing but good PR for the league, for WNBA. You know, that your star player is playing in a men's league and dominating, right? And let's face it, Caitlin Clark's going to dominate that. I mean, I've heard plenty of people saying, "Oh, you know, she gets body up by one former NBA player and she's out of it for the season." You know that they're going to protect her and run pick and rolls just like they, you know, with a lot of these smaller guards. She's
not to mention, I mean, have you seen her release time?
Yeah. Is she ever going to pass the 3-point line? Like,
no,
ever?
Absolutely not. She's shooting that thing all day.
Yeah. She's not going to go down past
she's not going anywhere near she's going nowhere where she's going to be bodied up. I guarantee that.
Absolutely. So yeah, I 100% agree. I think it's a great opportunity for the WNBA to really build the brand and expand their brand. It's really sad that the Big Three has a little bit more exposure than the WNBA at this point. But, you know, again, I do want to preference that the WNBA really needs to take advantage of this, because you've got a star player that is getting first of all, they're getting what was it told, like something like a historical NIL deal from Nike if she stayed one more year to finish her final year of eligibility to stay in college. She was offered like a crazy deal for that too.
Yeah.
You know, this is a woman who's high in demand, who is very talented, and it would do nothing but good things for the WNBA to capitalize on this Big Three option here. I don't know. What do you think?
I agree, but I think I do want to say that I think just her going to the WNBA, no matter what she does, is going to be good for the WNBA. Yeah, I mean, I think even just putting her on the floor is going to pull viewers in. I think it's going to, because like you said, she already is this huge, massive name. Now, I do think the WNBA could do a little bit more to keep pumping it up, because they're not where they need to be as a league, right?
30 years in, they're still relying on the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, they need the viewership. They need to push to get more eyeballs on WNBA games. But I think Caitlin Clark is probably just the beginning of this flow of players that are freak athletes that can score the basketball. That, I mean, we saw one come in a couple years ago, Sabrina Ionescu came into the league, and she just lit it up. You know,
yeah, that's one that shot for shot with Steph Curry, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So
where is she?
She was, I mean, she's still a star for the New York Liberty.
Yeah, but have you heard from her since the All-Star game?
Yeah, well, the league got over.
Like, if you like, no, my point is, like, if you are not a casual fan of the NBA, or if you're not a good fan of the NBA, have you heard from her since?
I follow her on almost every social media platform, so yes, I have.
Okay, you do, but if you don't follow the WNBA, have you heard from her?
No, I mean, you've heard
Absolutely not.
way more about Caitlin Clark.
Have you heard about Wiggins?
Who?
Wait, exactly my point.
Oh, Skylar Wiggins?
Yeah, WNBA prospect. She's out of the league now, but she talked about how the fact, we'll get into this in a future video. I don't want to bog down on this, but we'll talk about the
this
WNBA.
is how Darren and I conversations literally go.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
You guys are just watching me and Darren have a conversation.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a future video for sure. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell, folks. We are on the grind to 1,000 subscribers. We are about 120 away.
So close.
Once we hit that number, we're going to give the first $500 that we earn in AdSense revenue back to our subscribers. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell. It really helps out the channel. Once we do hit that number, we will be giving away the first $500 that we earn, and $100 increments to 5 subscribers. So make sure you're tuned in, subscribed, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on that giveaway. But yeah, absolutely. That's basically how we run the show around here, especially on the live stream for sure. We'll definitely cover that in a little bit more detail, but
we just hop back and forth, man. We got topics for days.
That's right. All right, perfect. Well, so since we covered college basketball, do you want to move into a little bit of let's pivot from college basketball into a piece that goes into the NBA. Let's talk about the NBA and the G League.
Yeah, absolutely. So the NBA has formally and officially announced that they are shutting down G League Ignite. G League Ignite was formed in 2020. It was pretty much a league designed to give elite basketball prospects an alternative route to the NBA. I mean, they've produced some really good players. A couple of top 10 picks: Scoot Henderson, Jalen Green, Jonathan Kuminga, Dyson Daniels, all guys that play for G League Ignite currently in the NBA. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts about G League Ignite shutting down? Why are they shutting down, Darren?
Well, over the last 3 years, the NBA landscape has changed, especially when it comes to basketball itself. The college basketball has definitely changed in the last 3 years with the development of the NIL and stuff like that. That has really basically made it to the point where the G League Ignite is really not necessary anymore.
Correct.
So again, in 3 short years, they have given us top draft picks. And there's been the last 3 years, they've given us 10 players that have joined the NBA. And this year they actually have 10 hopefuls to join, to be in the draft this year, just this year alone. However, that, like I said, with the whole NIL, these players can actually make plenty of money. Probably in college.
Good players can make more money staying at college than they can in G League Ignite.
Yeah, I mean, in G League Ignite, they earn something like $90,000 a year, something like that, plus endorsement deals that they have them.
Yep.
But if you co-sign your name with a brand like Duke or University of North Carolina or Gonzaga or something like that, your earning potential is much, much higher than what the G League Ignite can give you.
Yep.
So in my opinion, that's probably why this is shutting down.
That's absolutely why it's shutting down. I mean, realistically, with NIL, NIL now runs college athletics. You know what I mean? It literally steers everything in every direction that they go. And it really just shows you, I mean, there's no reason for players to skip college because they can get paid for going.
Right.
And honestly, this was inevitable, right? I mean, as soon as NIL came out, I'm sure the league was preparing the day when they knew that they couldn't foot the bill on players. I mean, obviously the whole idea was to hype up the G League far enough that they could generate enough revenue to keep these players, they were going to put fans in the stands to watch these players.
Right.
But with NIL running everything now, I mean, it was just a matter of time until, they're out of the game for top prospects. So
no, I agree.
But I hope G League continues. I mean, I hope they continue to stay successful and keep providing opportunities for players. So.
They will. It's definitely still going to be a developmental league, and we still have the overtime elite that is still the top landing spot for players who are looking to go pro, and straight out of high school. Basically, we still have that locally.
You're pretty much pro straight out of high school anyway now, even if you go to college.
Yeah, but we still have a team like overtime elite to which
produced the Thompson brothers.
Yeah, so they still have some quality there. most important thing we realize is as I look over at my co-host, glass is completely empty right now. So we definitely need to take care of that.
So sad.
It is so sad.
I'm literally so thirsty right now.
Yeah, a little bit of Angel's Envy. Let me go ahead and hand that over to you. You go ahead and top yourself off there.
Hold on, I gotta finish this.
Cheers to you folks again. Once again, let us know where you're at. What's your beverage of choice there? Go ahead and drop a comment in the live stream there. Again, folks, this does come out as a live stream. We do this usually every Thursday, but today we did it. We did it Wednesday. Every Wednesday is usually when we do it. Today we did it on Thursday, and it's not because I'm traveling, but it's because
I was traveling.
Yeah, AJ's got a life, man. Not all.
I know. Vacation for spring break, man. What was I thinking?
What were you thinking, man?
Yeah.
All five of our watchers, right? Yeah.
Yeah. My kids had fun, in case you guys are wondering.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sounded like it was a good time. Absolutely.
Yep.
But yeah, so again, first of all, folks, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell. We are giving away the first $500 we earn in AdSense revenue back to our subscribers. In case you haven't noticed, we are rocking DNA hats, stickers, and there's hoodies as well that has been recently ordered, which is pretty cool.
Yes,
we got t-shirts and stuff like that. So if you want to represent some DNA swag, you can find us on our website. You'll actually see it in the down below a little bit there.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, there's a link below.
Yeah, make sure you check it out.
There's some merch down there.
There's some merch down there. Check it out. Check it out for sure. But yeah, let's go ahead and pivot on over to what would you like to talk about next?
Let's go Major League Baseball.
Oh, something. Why we need to talk about baseball, dude?
Because I'm ready to drink. So that means it's your turn. So all the things we just talked about before, I had to talk about.
I'm just saying, dude, there's not really that much going on in baseball.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, I'm also ready to drink. So, so in Major League Baseball, Shohei Ohtani's interpreter stole money and told lies.
Seriously, we're going to start with the Ohtani thing.
We're going straight to Ohtani, bro.
We're going straight to Ohtani. Okay. I see how you are. Yeah, definitely. Well, let's talk about that. Okay.
What's up with your mic?
I don't know. It's got a little bit of whiskey dick. If you know what the conversation, if the term, I don't know what's going on there, but we'll definitely get that. Take a look at for sure. Let's go ahead and jump into that. Okay. So do you want to break down the scenario, or do you want me to break down?
No, I'll break it down. Then I got some questions for you.
Okay.
Because you're wearing the Dodgers jersey.
I'm wearing the Dodgers
jersey. You better have the 411 on everything that happened.
I do,
including a personal interview with Epi Mazuhara.
I would love to comment on the fact that you didn't get his name right.
Ippy Mazuhara.
Close enough.
Ippy Mazuhara is now at the center of this investigation for theft and gambling.
Mm-hmm.
He is the interpreter for Shohei Ohtani. And Mr. Shohei Ohtani has denied any involvement in this. My question's for you.
Okay.
Do you think Ohtani knew anything about this? How do you not?
Okay, let me start off by saying this. I hope he's telling the truth. I want to believe Ohtani here. I really do. The original statement that came out from ESPN, I believe it was what's her name? Oh gosh, off the top of my head, I can't remember her name, but she's the original one to break the story, where she talked about the original when they were about ready to break it, and they wanted to interview Shohei. The interpreter did give an interview, 90-minute interview that broke down everything. And according to this Ippei, which is his actual name, by the way, Ippei Matsuhara, in his original interview, he did state that it was his gambling debt, and he was asking Ohtani to cover his bets, and just being a good friend, he covered that for him. Is basically the story that he told ESPN. Now, once that story was set to be released after the first game in South Korea, Epe did address the team. And keep in mind that Shohei Ohtani does not know English, and so he's addressing the whole team. So he's probably like, "What the hell's going on?" This guy's addressing the team in English, saying, "There's a story that's coming out. I have a huge gambling debt," and then the president of baseball operations for the Dodgers did say that yes, he's in severe debt, and Ohtani paid off his debts. Right, that happened in the locker room. Shohei Ohtani then asked to talk to the interpreter at the hotel one-on-one to explain what happened. Ipe then told Otani what happened and let him know that he covered all of his debts. And from there, Otani, said, "I'm not using an interpreter anymore." Him and his team had contacted the authorities.
Could you imagine?
And then the Dodgers.
You're like, do you know what kind of contract I just signed? I just signed $600 million, $700 million.
Yeah, you were short by $100 million there for a second.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah,
My bad.
but then the Dodgers officially fired him as the interpreter for the team, and then they released a statement. Now, there's a little bit of, from the first statement released by ESPN that was cleared by Shohei Ohtani's crisis committee, whatever party that they reach out to, that apparently Shohei's team agreed to the first statement versus the second statement where they came out and said, no, this guy literally stole $4.5 million from me. And, he's been using my money to cover his bets and, so on and so forth. So that is the two stories.
Wow. So do you think, I mean, obviously you're hoping that it's not true. You're hoping that Otani literally had no idea, but whether it is or even if it isn't, does any of this have blowback on Otani? I mean, is this painting a different picture of who he is just by having an interpreter that's potentially taking advantage of you?
Well, now there's a federal investigation and an MLB investigation, and the fact that Otani has set his line in the sand, saying, "No, I had no involvement. I had no idea until he told the team that he was gambling with my money." Once he said that, you better hope that he's telling the truth, man.
Yep.
Because if it's not the truth, it's going to come out. They're going to find out. Absolutely. So that's kind of, that's kind of a tough road to hoe there, right? So, he better be able to prove it. So if that's the case and they are able to prove that he was 100% innocent, he had nothing to do with it, he had no idea, then I don't think this affects him at all whatsoever.
Right.
But if there is a smidgen of truth to this and he's proven to be in his official statement, if he's caught in any type of lie in that, then yeah, this is going to have huge impacts against him for sure.
Yep. Crazy. I'm curious to see how this all plays out for Mr. Otani.
Yeah.
Luckily, he don't got to be pitching this year. He's just swinging a bat.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me ask you that, man. What do you think? I mean, what would you do, man? Let's look at it this way. You're making about $30 million a year in endorsements. You're making about $10 million a year with the Angels. First of all, how that, what did the Angels not figure this out? Like, seriously. Did you know he's in a coming free agent? You just buried your head in the sand, so you didn't want to worry about it. Why didn't you like?
I mean, we're gonna find out because they're gonna know exactly when all this started. They're gonna start seeing all the transfers out of his account. Yeah. What's crazy is that he had enough money as an account that he didn't miss $4.5 million.
Yeah. So it was Tisha Thompson of ESPN who reported the original story, by the way. But the thing that really kind of tweaks me a little bit this, and we'll get to that. Let's go ahead and cover some comments here.
Yeah.
Let's start with McKinley Coulter. It's crazy that gambling scandal came out both in the NBA and the MLB this same week. Yes, we just don't want to talk about that. Did you hear about this?
No.
On the NBA side of it? Yeah.
Who?
Yeah. So there's a player, I believe. Let me know, McKinley, in the comments there, which team he's on. But I believe he's with, I want to say the Pacers. Let me know if I'm wrong on that. But he knew the over/under on his with his prize picks. He was on 4 rebounds over/under, and they caught him on camera intentionally trying to not take a rebound in the first half of a game, knowing his over/under. And they tracked it to like several different people who were betting the under for him and busted him for trying to.
No way.
Yeah, remind me. Let me know there for sure, McKinley. You probably. Yeah, we're definitely going to cover that. We want to cover that.
I missed that.
That's crazy. We want to cover that, but that's actually not in this week's episode. We're going to cover that next week, but I appreciate that, McKinley. Let us know there for sure. Let's go ahead and cover the next comment there. It says, in my opinion, that sports gambling is legal. It's going to be hard for me to believe that it's not going to cause some problems.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is just the beginning.
Absolutely. This is the White Sox scandal all over again. The Black Sox scandal. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know your history of baseball, but that was definitely part of it. It's even still to this day, Shoeless Joe Jackson is still entwined in that, whether or not he was part of it or not. If a team throwing the World Series, because they were going to make way more money by gambling, by throwing the World Series, and we're by winning it. So
yeah,
there's definitely some of that for sure. I would have to agree with you on that culture for sure. I definitely think this is going to get worse before it gets better. When the NBA decided to get in bed with all this officially, and say that the gambling is part of it, let's go ahead and jump into it. I definitely think they opened a can of worms they weren't prepared for sure.
yep,
Yeah, and we'll definitely cover that for sure on the NBA there when it comes to the I believe it's Prize Picks for sure. It's definitely a little bit of a mess for sure. Let's see here, you guys.
We were cut out and frozen apparently.
Did we really?
And then his next one said, "Never mind, it was on my end." Glad you figured it out.
glad you figured it out there, Coulter. Appreciate it. We need to make McKinley Coulter a moderator of our comment section.
Yeah, that'd be excellent.
Shoot us a message and let us know if that's something you want to do, because it sounds like you're on top of it for sure. Let's talk about Juan Soto and his new arm winning the game for the Yankees. Okay. All right. So that came from Natalie Roach. We'll definitely talk about that when it comes to Major League Baseball. We'll pivot to that here in just a minute when it comes to Ohtani. Let me put it this way. Before we talk about opening day, let's talk about that. So there are between 8 and 9 payments of $500,000 each coming from Shohei Ohtani's account to an illegal bookie in Southern California. Let me put it this way. You are a player who is dedicated to the sport, and you have an interpreter that you've trusted for 7 years. Is there a chance that you're missing those kind of payments coming out of your account?
Very unlikely.
Very unlikely. Okay. Keep in mind, this is the same player for the first 3 years of the season. He had his mom giving him a $2,000 allowance per month while he was playing Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Would you still say very likely? He's not really watching his money that closely.
He was watching every dime.
See, here's my concern. It's not about whether or not a Shohei Ohtani. I don't think he's watching it. I literally think he has no clue. That's not my concern. My concern is the fact that, first of all, that Ippei Matsuhara had a bookie that was willing to let him go that far into debt. He's making, with the Angels, he was making like maybe $100,000 a year. Yeah, he was able to go $4.3 million in debt with a bookie.
Best friend was Shohei Ohtani, man.
Yeah, unless he knew that Shohei Ohtani was covering his bets. Would you let him go that far?
But it's that easy as just saying, maybe you don't know who I translate for. Heard of Shohei? Yeah, that's my guy right there. Here's a picture of me and him. I got a cell phone number.
Technically, they've technically met at a poker game in a hotel room, and he knew that he was Shohei Ohtani's interpreter. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gave him a lot of credit. But the fact that his banks didn't none of his financial advisors, nobody raised the alarm that there were several transfers of $500,000 coming out of his bank account to an illegal bookie in Southern California. Nobody said a thing.
It's a pretty scary item.
And honestly, I could see how that works. It'd go right to the translator, right? Because so he would be like, hey, and then he'd be like, oh yeah, I got this taken care of. And he'd be like, okay, let me go hit the cage. So I can kind of understand it a little bit, but that's my only thing, man. I want to believe in Shohei Ohtani that what he said is true, but there are just a few things that don't make a whole lot of sense there when it comes to Ippei Matsuhara and what he's trying to get out of here. And the fact that, within 24 hours, they completely changed their story on that. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, there's definitely some discrepancies in the first two stories.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all going to come to light. I mean, it won't be long. Like you said, with a federal investigation, then an MLB investigation, they're going to track down every one of those payments, see where every single dime went.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, they know they went to a legal bookie in California.
Yeah, but is that where the money trail stops? Is it the illegal bookie? You know what I mean? Or does it go back to Matsuhara and all of a sudden he's side betting at some, you know what I mean? Like they're going to know everything.
For sure. Now there is precedence for this. There is a pitcher from the Florida Marlins, and back in 2015, it was popped for illegal gambling with an illegal bookie. He wasn't suspended. He was fined an undisclosed amount, and that was it. So there is precedence for this, even if Ohtani is, found guilty of transferring the money. The issue is he didn't go on record and saying that this money was stolen. So that might make things a little bit more murky. But would he be suspended? Would he be kicked out from baseball? Would he find any major issues? Absolutely not, because The historical
Yeah.
precedence is that they just find them and move on.
Right.
So I don't know. More to come on that story, absolutely, for sure.
Comments?
Let us know in the comments down below, folks. Let us know what you think on that for sure. Let's go ahead and move on to the comments there. Where were we at in the comments there? We will start with let's start with Natalie Roach. Let's talk about.
You said we're going to move to that next comment.
We're going to move to that next.
Yeah, you said we were going to talk Juan Soto in just a minute.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I think he thought he was helping out a buddy. Tammy Price, thank you for the comment. I agree.
You think he was just trying?
I think they're. If the story does end up rolling out like we think it does, it will pretty much say that Ohtani literally just thought, my buddy said he needs $500,000. I'm going to send it to him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Hey, I'm in a bad spot.
After 8 to 9 payments, though. Maybe the first one.
Yeah. I mean,
like where does this?
I'm buying a multi-million-dollar home. Could you transfer me $500,000 8 times?
Yeah. Like where does this hit for sure? No, Tammy Price, really appreciate the comment. I actually agree with you there. I really think he's just trying to help out a friend. Tammy Price also hinted that she agrees with. I agree with McKinley. I'm thinking that has something to do with, in my opinion, sports gambling piece. Then yeah, absolutely, this is definitely gonna get worse before it gets better, for sure. Let's go ahead and hit next comment we got from McKinley. Can you read that? Okay.
Yeah, really interesting comments by, I believe, Will Hardy and Cleveland's head coach about fans yelling and them to keep players to cover spreads or threatening them if they take them out.
Yeah.
Yes. Did you see this comment or did you see this article on KSL?
No, but I have seen previous articles about when it came to the midseason tournament about how that was the fact that the spread matters in that tournament was throwing off books for professional gambling in Vegas. But yeah, so recap the article for me.
Yeah, I mean, so the article just kind of talks about Will Hardy. I mean, it's Will Hardy saying that he's had multiple like comments at the end of games saying, "Put so and so in. I've got money on him." You know what I mean? Like,
are you serious?
Yeah, I mean,
oh, wow.
and it's absolutely affecting. I mean, the spreads of these games. You know what I mean? Like, take so and so out. We need to lose by 5. Like, all of this stuff is happening, and it's bothering Coach Hardy. I mean, obviously, he's just out there trying to win back. I'm just trying to coach a team that could win some ball games. The last thing I need to be worrying about is the spread and whether you lose $30 or $1,000 tonight. Like,
yeah, and we are
much
seeing
bigger goals.
We are seeing it being a problem, like where be very careful. Watch how the rules change this offseason when it comes to the NBA and how they address certain things, like when it comes to fouls or, be very careful. Watch the rule change and see if it favors the Vegas books or not.
It does every year.
Because what I'm thinking is I'm thinking now that the NBA is fully in on this whole thing with legal gambling, I think we're going to see more control from the sports books over the league.
The fact is Vegas can sit here and manipulate some of these numbers because of the NBA rule changes, and they don't know how they think it's going to affect it. But all of a sudden, your spreads start going up higher, and your point totals start going up higher, all because of one rule change. You don't know how it's going to affect it, but Vegas does.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think happened with the NBA over the last couple of years.
Happened
over the last couple of weeks. That no one can understand why all of a sudden scoring's been down across the board.
Yeah.
With the NBA saying, no, they made no official changes. And the referees are saying, yeah, we're just calling things a little tighter. Really?
We all believe that.
We believe that as much as we believe, that there was a screen door on a battleship for sure. Let's go ahead and move on over to the next comment from McKinley. He was actually on the Toronto Raptors. He's Michael Porter Jr.'s brother. He's a two-way contract guy let's see here. And the 2 games that he was in, unusual amount of bets were left early and for weird reasons. And they all hit on the under. So basically what that comment says is, he was on a 2-way contract. He was with the league, and all of a sudden there was a crazy amount of bets across the country in different states betting the under. And so when he was on camera making it obvious that he was avoiding getting rebounds, that somebody said to him, hey, we're going to pay you off. Just don't get more than 4 rebounds.
Yep.
Yeah, this was caught literally on camera, like in 4K. This guy was busted for
Could
sure.
you just imagine, like, there's a rebound coming to me, run away?
Yeah, so basically what it looks like is he touched the ball with his hand and he deflected it over to one of his teammates because he didn't want to grab the rebound because he had an over under, I believe 4. McKinley, correct me if I'm wrong on that. For the over under was 4 on that one, and he was in the first half already at 3. So he decided to like deflect that one and not catch it. So
Using his elbow.
yeah, literally grabbing his hand and just like dumping it
Yeah.
off, hoping somebody else can get it.
You got this.
Yeah, it's quite nasty for sure. But yeah, so appreciate the comments, guys. Keep it coming. This, the interaction with you guys really makes this show what it is. So we appreciate it. Let's go ahead and pivot a little bit into opening day, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so
you want to go into contracts real quick because we had a couple signings finally.
Oh yeah, let's cover that for sure.
Yeah.
Before opening day, let's go ahead and take a look at the first of all, it is opening day, so thank your respective deities that we are now in officially Major League Baseball has started. Believe it or not, we have more viewership on MLB content than anything else on this channel.
I know why.
Why is that?
It's the only thing we cover as broad as we do.
I guess that's true. Well, we tried the NFL, guys, but nobody watched it. And then
don't worry, I don't care enough about the the NFL anyway.
That's we covered college football. It turns out there's only like 4 teams that care about what we talk about.
And guess what? We talked about 3 of them today.
Exactly. No hidden agenda to that whatsoever. And then we cover a little about the NBA, but it seems nobody cares about anything other about the Jazz. So and then whenever we talk baseball, everybody seems to care except for the Royals fans. They don't seem to care at all. So
yeah, we're not fans of the Royals either. So
we're not going to talk about
whatever.
The Royals. So yeah. But it is opening day, so let's go ahead and talk about that. Let's first talk about the signings. Let's talk Scott Boras because he seems to be the hottest topic there.
Oh yeah. So Mr. Jordan Montgomery, the Scott Boras client of the past, that's my future prediction.
Okay.
The Scott Boras client of the past.
Okay.
Jordan Montgomery signs a $25 million a year deal, 1-year deal with the Arizona Diamondbacks. He does have an option for the 2025 season to make pretty much the same amount as long as he makes 10 starts that year or this year.
Mm-hmm.
There are reports that he was seeking a 7-year deal worth around $172 million. He is going to be a great addition to the Diamondbacks, obviously behind Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly. They have a pretty nice rotation at this point. Mm-hmm. So my question is, how do you think Mr. Scott Boras did for Jordan Montgomery on this contract?
Oh, you freaking screwed the pooch, man. Absolutely screwed the pooch, especially with reports that he had multiple teams offering multiple year deals. Just the AAV was much lower than what he was getting from the Diamondbacks.
Right.
So there was like 3-year deals, 4-year deals where the AAV was much longer.
Mm-hmm. But he's got flexibility.
Yeah, but he's got flexibility. Which is really stupid because, obviously minus winning the Cy Young this year, he's not going to have any better year this year than he did last year.
Yeah.
Because he was a postseason dominant pitcher and he's going to be a year older.
He didn't even have a great game in the World Series, though. The one game he threw in the World Series wasn't a great game.
No,
he didn't have any strikeouts in that game.
No, but in comparison, he did practically carry the team through the playoffs.
He got him there. Exactly. Absolutely. But producing there is also just as important.
It is true.
You get one game in a 7-game series to pitch in the World Series, and if you strike 0 people out as their ace,
true.
What are you there for?
True, but what was his earn run average for that game? Did he give up any runs? Give up any hits?
He gave up a few hits and a couple runs.
Okay, so
I think they still won.
Still technically a quality start. Just because there are no strikeouts. But I 100% agree with you on that one. He didn't make any. But exactly my point to the whole Blake Snell situation we talked about last week is that the fact that, he's not going to have any better year this year than he had last year. So the chances for him to get a multi-year deal and being a year older next year is just not going to happen. If it didn't happen this year, it's not going to happen next year.
Yep.
I mean, yes, half the teams with Bally Sports are going to be, hard up for money. And hopefully sometime this year they'll get that squared away and there'll be about 10 more teams in the market than they were this year. But yeah, dude, this is a terrible deal for Jordan Montgomery. Absolutely great steal of a deal for the Diamondbacks for sure. They've got, like you mentioned, Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly. They also signed Eduardo Rodriguez over the offseason. The guy, hey, I don't want to be a Dodger. Eduardo Rodriguez.
Yeah.
He said, I don't want to be on the West Coast. And then he signs a deal with the Diamondbacks.
Oops.
Like, whatever, dude.
He's not good at geography.
Apparently not. But he signs with them. And then, it ends up, so they got a stacked rotation, man. Like stacked, almost rivaling what the Braves have for sure. Very good rotation. But and they also added things. They also added, I believe, Eugenio Suarez, which is a third baseman with Seattle last year, and they also added Jock Peterson, who is what we call in Dodger Nation Jocktober, because that guy just rakes in the postseason. So that team did absolutely nothing but got a hell of a lot of better. So yeah, congrats to the Diamondbacks for getting him for $25 million, basically 1 year commitment with a player option, with a vested option, obviously. But yeah, no, Boris, no, he absolutely screwed up, man. His two front line starter, free agent pitchers, both wanting long-term deals. Neither one of them got him. Yeah, he screwed up.
Yep.
Has totally screwed up.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's why, just for the record, I did start that segment. Former Scott Boras client, Jordan Montgomery.
Exactly. Agree with you there.
Anyways, let's move on. JD Martinez.
Yep.
He signs a 1-year contract worth $12 million with the New York Mets. This is a huge ad for a team that's going to be kind of fighting for a playoff berth, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was reportedly looking for a $20 million a year deal. And last year he turned down $14 million from the Giants. Yeah. So, he is coming off his third consecutive All-Star appearance. This guy was with the Dodgers last season, right?
Yes, he was.
JD Martinez had 33 home runs with the Dodgers last year. So
100 RBI.
Had a great season. It was widely thought that he was going to get a contract worth way more than $12 million. And a lot of teams weren't even in the running, because they're like, he's going to land 15 to 18 million somewhere.
Right.
And then the Mets steal him for 12.
Yeah. I mean, he was offered like a lot more money to go join the Giants, but you hear the reason why he chose not to go to the Giants?
No.
Okay. The reason, because if he is he's in his mid 30s, right? And he's JD Martinez. If he goes to the Giants,
he's in his late 30s. He's like 37.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
Mid 30s.
I'm sorry. Yeah, late 30s. Sorry. If he goes to the Giants, which is considered a very much pitcher friendly ballpark, and he hits 20 bombs and, has like 80 RBI, his OPS plus is below 1,000. Everybody's going to think he's washed up. He's no good, right? But if he goes to a hitter friendly ballpark where the Mets play there, I can't remember what they're called there at the Mets Stadium. Correct me in the comments where I'm at on that for sure. But if he goes to the Mets, where he's got that short left field porch, where he can hit some dingers out there to left field, and he hits 35 bombs and bats 240, 260, 280, no one's going to think he's washed up. So that's why he chose not to go to the Giants. Nothing against the organization, but just simply because of the stadium. If half your games are in a stadium where you're going to basically have warning track.
He's like, I got to get one more contract out of this.
Yeah. Well, honestly, he deserves one, man. He's a great hitter. He's great for DH. He can basically place hit wherever he wants. And, I'm a full support of JD Martinez. He did get a raise out of this one. He was $10 million with the Dodgers last year, got $12 million with the Mets this year. Good on you. Good on you there, JD. I think after this whole, Valley Sports thing, you're going to land a couple-year deal for sure. Look forward to it.
Yeah, going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So what else? Oh, this segment has now moved fully over to you. I need you to give us a rundown on MLB opening day.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about let's address the comment there. We did have a comment from Mally Roach. Let's go ahead and let's talk about Juan Soto's noodle arm. Where was this one here? We need to definitely get over that. Let me go ahead and put this here. Let me show that one there. So a buddy of mine, Sean Roach, him and I do this opening day ritual every year where we go and belly up to the bar and we watch the Yankees game and the Dodgers game. This year they are actually playing at the same time, so it wasn't exactly as much of a marathon as it normally is. Normally they don't play back to back.
Usually you have 8 hours of watching games.
8 hours of watching baseball in a bar. So we usually eat lunch and dinner in the bar when it comes to that. So and a lot of liquid courage flowing between that. But in this case, we were able to watch the Dodgers and the Yankees play side by side. So Juan Soto is really funny because we were talking about how they showed a graphic on the Jumbotron there about how Juan Soto had the weakest arm of the outfield, right? And then it comes to at the end of the game there was a sack fly to was a sack fly. I think the ball dropped. I think the ball might have dropped. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Nally Roach, but I think the ball dropped. And the ball dropped in front of Juan Soto in right field. He picked the ball and gunned it home, right? And just barely made the tag. Now, there wasn't any evidence to show that the tag wasn't placed, but they did challenge the call. and he could have easily swiped and missed the guy, but he pulled the glove up, making it look like he made the tag and saying, yeah, the guy was out. And so the call was out of the plate. They reviewed it, and they didn't have a single camera angle that didn't show. They could actually show the actual play. So even though the Yankees were down 0-4 going into like the 6th inning, right? They were down no runs to 4 to the Houston Astros. They ended up coming back and winning 5-4.
No way.
Yeah, which all big part of that had mostly to do with the whole Juan Soto, gutting it there with his noodle arm, which is funny because he's known for being a great offensive player, not the best defensive player. And the fact that the ball found him and then the play was at the plate, if it was anybody else in right field throwing that would have been even a question. But the fact that his noodle arm of his arm speed was there was quite funny for sure. Let's go ahead and break down the rest of the let's go ahead and break down the rest of the league, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely.
So in opening day, we had the Braves and the Phillies postponed due to rain. We also had the Brewers and the Mets postponed due to rain. We talked about the Yankees. We also have the Pirates beating the Marlins in the 12th inning, by the way. A game that actually means absolutely nothing because neither one of those teams are going to contend for anything worth a damn. So,
forget we said anything.
Surprised they even televised it. Next that we have the Tigers versus the White Sox. The Tigers beat them 1-0. But that game was fun to watch. We had the Twins beating the Royals, the AL Central winning Royals that we claim there over the Twins, which is an interdivisional rivalry.
Will Smith, watch the video.
Exactly. Comment link down below for sure. Twins beat them 4-1. We also have the Blue Jays beating the Tampa Bay Rays 8-2. We have the Dodgers, basically stomping on the Arizona Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals 7-1. We have the Padres beating the Giants 6-4. We have the Reds beating the Nationals 8-2. The Angels losing to the Baltimore Orioles 11-3, which, by the way, the first home run of this season was hit by one Mike Trout.
No way.
Yeah, in a losing effort.
He still got it.
He still got it, man. Still got it.
Get it, Mike.
We still have the in the top of the 3rd inning, we have the Red Sox beating the Mariners 2-0. We have the Rockies in the bottom of the 3rd losing the Diamondbacks 2-1. We have the Guardians beating the Athletics 1-0, and we have the Rangers and the Cubs tied 3-3 in this opening day. So once again, folks, super happy that Major League Baseball is here. We do have teams that are playing for games that matter. Super exciting, super awesome. Absolutely love it.
Go Braves.
I love it. You got anything else on baseball or anything else we talked about today?
Hold on, let me check. No.
That's awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and clear the comments there. I think we're good there. But yeah, once again, folks, on the live stream, thank you very much for joining us on the live stream. We really appreciate it. We do this every Wednesday at 7:30 Mountain Time,
or Thursday,
Thursday, or Tuesday.
Yeah, just watch out for the little dingy bell.
Hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. Absolutely, 100% for sure. Because we're definitely gonna try to regulate it. At least for me, my travel schedule has opened up quite a bit. So for the next couple of months, I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
You let me know.
I'll let you know. It's probably gonna have to switch to Tuesdays at some point. Softball season.
Yeah, softball season. We can't. Definitely can't get in the way of softball season for sure. But once again, folks, we are on the grind to 1,000 subscribers. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. It really helps out the channel. We are giving the first $500 that we earn in AdSense revenue back to our subscribers. So make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on that giveaway. We are super close. We're getting there every day. We really appreciate it. Thank you guys very much for supporting the channel.
Yep. And if you're watching on YouTube on one of our short videos, there should be a link to the playlist, whichever video it is, right here.
Awesome. And again, if you want to hear more about what we talked about in this segment, make sure you click the link to the playlist. It talks about more about what we talked about right here. We'd love to hear from you on that for sure. Once again, you guys can also find our podcast at dnasportsrecap.com. So make sure you check out that. Make sure you check out our merch in the bottom of the corner, on the bottom of the screen there. We'd love for you to cop that for sure. And send us some photos on our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter of that merch there. We'd love to see it. Absolutely.
Yes.
Once again, my folks, my name is Darren. That is AJ, and this has been the DNA Sports Recap.
Till next time.